Okay, in this tutorial we're going to show you around Dune CM. Once you've installed the software, load up your DAW and add Dune CM to a MIDI track. Now first of all you might want to check out the presets. Now you can do this by cycling through them by clicking the arrow buttons, or you can click the preset name to bring up a menu. The quickest way to initialize the synth is to click the Bank B button. Bank B is empty, so this just brings up an initial sound where you've just got a single sawtooth oscillator. Okay, from this starting point, let's make a sound that shows off a few of Dune CM's capabilities. Change OSC1's wave shape from saw to pulse by clicking the pulse icon on the left of the OSC1 panel. We can get a richer sound by turning up the number of voices Dune CM uses for each note. To do this, drag up on the voices knob and set it to a maximum 8 voices. We'll only really get a thicker sound once we've detuned the voices, so to do this, turn up the detune knob, about 28% will do. Now the sound is currently mono, but we can make it stereo by spreading the voices through the stereo panorama, so turn the spread knob up to 100%. Turn the ring mod knob up to 100% too. Now this multiplies the output of the first oscillator by the second. With the current settings this doesn't really do much for the sound, it just gives it a more saw-like quality. We can change how the ring modulation effect sounds by changing the parameters of the second oscillator. So set the second oscillator's wave shape to pulse and you'll hear the timbre change slightly, but if you sweep the semitone knob you'll hear a really obvious change to the timbre, so leave the semi knob at 36. In the FM section, sweep the FM2 knob. Now this creates a really dramatic effect, so let's build this into the patch. Set the FM2 knob to 100% and then open the modulation matrix page by clicking the mod matrix 1 to 12 button in the central window. Set the source of the second row of the modulation matrix to mod envelope, the amount to -100 and the destination to FM2. This tells Dune CM we want to reduce the FM2 amount according to the level of the mod envelope. We want this to happen quite slowly, so set the attack time of the module envelope to 85%. Turn the sustain level up to 100%, which means the envelope stays at the same level after the attack stage is finished. So far we've got a fairly interesting riser sound, which sounds good when played as a chord, but you won't be able to play it as a chord properly yet because the maximum number of voices is set to 16, which means we can only play 2 8-voice notes simultaneously. So to remedy this, return to the main screen by clicking the main button in the central window and turn the voices number up to maximum 72. You can now play more complex chords. Turn down the volume knob in the output panel to 20% so that the output of Dune CM doesn't overload your DAW's output level. Okay, the FM1 knob can give us another kind of crazy effect, so let's use a modulator to increase its level over time. Currently we're not actually using the filter envelope to do anything, so we can use that. So bring up the modulation matrix screen again, and this time set the third row to source filter envelope, amount to +100 and destination to FM1. We want the filter envelope to increase and decrease in level pretty slowly, so set the attack and decay times to 80% and leave the sustain at 0%. Play a sustained chord and hold it until the sound has gone through all the crazy frequency modulation and returns to normal. You can make the sound a little bit fatter by activating the oscillator sync button, which hard syncs oscillators 1 and 2. An unusual facet of Dune CM is that you can use the voice number as a source in the modulation matrix, and this means that each voice will have a different amount of modulation depending on its number. So set the fourth line of the modulation matrix to source voice, amount to -24 and destination OS2 semi. So this means that each voice's OS2 semitone tuning will be different, which will give the sound which will give each voice a different quality due to the fact it's being ring modulated in a little different way. So having this gives the sound an overall less chaotic quality, and you actually take a listen to how each voice is responding by soloing them with the voice solo control in the unison panel. Okay, in this tutorial we've only really scratched the surface of Dune CM, but we've given you some idea of its capabilities. One last tip though, if you want a little crispiness on the high end, try turning up the reso knob a little bit. Even though we're not actually really filtering the sound, you'll hear it enhances the highs and gives you a little bit of bite on there.